No. I just have never heard of that. Interesting. All right. Take your calculator, put it under your seat. No calculator from here for the rest of class. So sad. If you borrowed one of mine, put it back. No more calculators from here for the rest of the class period. All right. So when they say find f of 6, and this is your f of x, what does that mean? They said find f of 6. That means x equals 6. You have to plug it in. Figure it out. Without a calculator. Ready, go. Okay. And make sure you remember order of operations. Parentheses go first, then exponents, then multiplication and division, then addition, subtraction.
Oh my goodness gracious. Is it like a white flag from your way? How is working out for us? Why? Yeah, I know.
Are you having fun yet?
No.
You finished it already?
You said, you were so cool.
All right. So, I'm assuming this is not our favorite problem. Okay. This is the reason we learn the remainder theorem. Are you ready? So here's what I want from you. We're going to write 6 in the box. And then we're going to take the problem. We're going to do synthetic division with it. -4, 29, -28, -8. Yep, because it's not written in factored form. They have the actual number that they want. Because remember, with the other one, we did the opposite sign to get it out of the factor. This one is already out of the factor, so we just use the number. Okay, so we drop down the -4 to start with. -4 times 6, -24. We get 5. We get 30. We get 2. We get 12. We get 4. So the remainder theorem says, because you had to know why you care. So the remainder theorem says, skip all of this. That's what the remainder theorem says. The remainder theorem says if you need to plug a number in and you're not allowed to use a calculator, like for all of calculus class, then what you're going to do is use synthetic division, and the remainder is the answer. So if you want to know what f of 6 is, oh, easy peasy, it's 4. But now, how panicked were you when I handed out this worksheet and you were like, she told us to put our calculators away and now we have to do all of this by hand? It was about to be the worst thing. All right, so, thank you. All right, so that, we already did that one. That's the first one. So we're going to go ahead, shade this way. Okay. All right, now if you are a very small writer, you can write it in the boxes. If you are not a very small writer, do it on a separate sheet of paper, okay? So let's go ahead and do the next one. We've got 2. We're evaluating f of 2. Okay, so we've got 4x squared minus 6x minus 1. So f of 2 is 3. Whew. Wasn't it nice to not really have to do that? Okay, f of -4. 1, 9, 26. This is still faster. Mm-hmm. Because the numbers stay smaller. Does that make sense? So you're not thinking like, oh, -4 squared is 16, and now you're dealing with 16. You're just dealing with 1. See, like the biggest number I dealt with was -20. I didn't have to deal with 26. I didn't have to deal, like, does that make sense? So my number stayed smaller by doing it this way. Yeah, the only way to make this easier is to just straight up plug it in your calculator. But if you're in a situation where you're not allowed to use a calculator, which in upper level math they do a lot, then you're going to want to be able to do it this way. Especially, so problems like the middle two, these were not so bad, but the third one, look at this one. Not good times if you had to do that by hand. That would suck.
Oh, isn't the third one just automatically -5?
It is, but I want to see work for all the problems. So don't be like, Ms. Rice, my work is my common sense. No. Actually write the math down. Yes. You just said 2, too. All right. So I want to see work for all of them. If you are doing work on the sheet, listen carefully. If you are doing work on the sheet, then if you're shading it, the shading needs to be light enough that I can still see the work. So don't shade it like this and be like, Miss Rice, my work is underneath. I'm so sorry you can't see it. Because then I'll be like, okay, number 1, I always put up answer keys. Number 2, you probably just used your calculator. You liar pants. All right, so show all your work either on this sheet or on a separate sheet of paper. No calculator for the entire assignment. Okay, so that is the rest of class. You should get pretty far on it. And then we do have a video over the weekend, and I already gave you your video notes sheet for that. Okay? Sound good?
Do you mind texting me the text? Do you mind texting us?